Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Texags Rewind presented by Specs, the 4-time Retailer of the Year. David Nuño here with the Fan Show guys and Ambry Heath at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. It's been a minute since Hunter Shortlift was on the show, so I'm going to ask you first, what was your favorite part of the show?
I always enjoy McGee and Swope, man.
Yeah, they were great. Yeah. Roy?
Yeah, they have a great dynamic. You know what? The Big Ten guy you had talking about the different models and the disparity between where the SEC and the Big Ten are as far as the 8 to 9 game.
You're talking about Adam Rittenberg from ESPN?
Thank you. Yeah.
He was good. You?
Yeah. Aaron Torres getting scared of a couple coyotes.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Amber, you have a favorite part of the show outside of me being awesome and funny and great voices?
The Fan Show.
Yeah. Hey guys, guess what? You didn't make the rewind. Sorry, you got cut.
Hunter's back.
Yeah, you got cut. You have your own post.
Unbelievable.
Nick is the czar of picking things. It's the rewind. Check it.
And I think underrated probably with the leadership and the maturity on those football teams with Johnny when they needed that presence, right? Because you knew you weren't going to get it necessarily. Johnny was a gamer, but how about all the work ethic and what's needed to keep the team together away from the field in the offseason? That's where Swope, I think, is had such a large impact that most Aggie fans don't see. It's that competitive, it's that desire to win, to commit to the team. It's about us and a guy that's just going to go out there and find ways to win. It doesn't matter. It's not about him. It's about us, right? Getting the job done. And then I think people look at Ryan Swope and they think, oh, this little small white slot wide receiver like Wes Welker. That's just not the case. The guy's big. People forget how big he is. He's 6'2", and he ran 4.35 laser at the combine.
And he's strong.
That is, we call him the dump truck. I mean, he will dump. One of his friends challenged him in his backyard one time to do a little Oklahoma drill, and the dude ended up in a large Yeti cooler. I watched the video. It was hilarious. Dump truck.
This is like adult version Ryan Swope?
It was probably adult.
In his boots.
Oh, my.
In his backyard.
There was adult
dump truck.
Adult beverages happened before that challenge had to have been. But what I will say is this. We've heard Mike Evans say that Ryan Swope's the best receiver he's ever played with. And that should be enough of an endorsement as anybody. I mean, Mike not only is one of the greatest receivers here, but one of the greatest receivers in football history. Mike Evans saying that about a guy.
Hey, let me. We're going to talk a lot with Swope at 9 o'clock. Let me ask you something about what Coach Elko said yesterday at the Houston Coaches Night. He says we didn't meet our standard talking about the defense for what a defense should look like. Part of that is year one. Part of that is Tyreek Chappelle's injury, so we had to play more zone. Part of it's coaching, and the other part is players doing it. That is the, if not the million-dollar question, is 1A, 1B for A&M this year. Is that defense, Stephen?
Absolutely. And I think defense starts up front, right? The ability of you to get after the quarterback. In my opinion, not near as much production in the front four, the ability to get home without pressuring the quarterback, right? You don't want to expose the back end of your defense consistently by having to do, 6-man pressures or bringing up the house, go and cover zero and leaving them on an island. You love the ability of 4 guys to rush the quarterback and you still are getting pressure, right? Even if you're not getting sacked around the guy's feet. And with a lot of talent last year. I'm excited to see Mike Elko. You guys know I've praised him at length, especially whenever he was the DC here under Fisher. I consistently saw it week in and week out. This guy scheme up ways in which he could rush 4 guys and create pressures and mismatches to get guys home on the quarterback without exposing the back end. It's artwork, right?
How did you find out? Just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was May 18th, which it's pretty funny, but I received a phone call. It was, I guess, a couple Saturdays ago, and Mike Evans and Kathy Capps called me and reached out to break the big news. So
cool.
Pretty special hearing from Mike, and obviously he's done a lot for this program, and holds a dear spot in my heart. And hearing from him and Hall of Famer is pretty cool. So and then a couple hours later, my wife went into labor. So
what a day!
Yeah, it was pretty eventful. But
what I find interesting too is I just looked this up because I thought it was around the same time. 2 days before, randomly, J.D. Pickell tweeted about you being one of the what was here? I have it right here. College Football Player of the Day, Ryan Swope, A&M, a baller, a ball player's ball player. Do you remember when this came out?
Yeah, a couple people sent it my way. Pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, I'm super excited. Obviously, it's a privilege to be in such a great group with a lot of great people that represented the maroon and white, and looking forward to celebrating come September 5th.
When you and I know we'll move on to the other football stuff, but I think your story is so interesting in the fact that like people still talk about you all the time, Ryan. And it's been 12 years since you played at A&M. It's been a minute, right? What was your work ethic like back then?
Man, I think back then, and hopefully it's still today. I mean, it kind of starts at your roots. Started at a young age for me. Obviously, I got to give a lot of credit to my mom and dad, just the way they raised me, and starts kind of with my roots. And I was fortunate to have a very competitive younger brother, and we kind of held each other accountable, Louie. And so those people kind of instilled that work ethic in my life that I just kind of carried with me through A&M, and obviously met some great people along the way. And it's just how I played the game. It's how I played in high school. Didn't go out of bounds. It was a mentality, and so I just tried to transfer that over once I stepped foot on Kyle Field, and just tried to earhole every guy that I saw.
Because you always are very good about getting these organic takes. Is there a football topic out there you're like, I've given this thought and I think this?
Well, one that I think real college football fans have, but probably the general media maybe doesn't. I think we're crowning Arch way too quick, right?
Yeah.
Congrats on beating UL Monroe and Mississippi State, and it's really cool that you have a fun last name, but, they put you in against Georgia, and you couldn't really do much. And by the way, that's not a criticism of Arch. That's just a reality of, hey, Georgia's really good, but those are the kinds of defenses that you're going to have to beat to compete for a national championship and be the number one pick in the draft. So I think that to me as a college football fan, I am just nowhere near ready to get on the Arch hype train. And I think we're going to find out early with them obviously playing Ohio State in week 1. The other one to me is I just think it's Clemson. I really do. Is that, and I think as we get close to the season, that the hype will kind of increase. But, this is a program that was at the top of the sport. Then they kind of didn't really adjust, and we all had our Dabo takes. So listen, I'll include myself. I was critical of the no portal stuff, whatever. But, listen, they end the season really well. They go to the college football playoff. The offense actually moved the ball against Texas. They just, they couldn't get stops on defense. But listen, I think it's an interesting story because of the Dabo angle of, wow, did he really build this the way that he says, the way that he said he wanted to in this portal NIL world without taking a lot of the pathway that most other programs have. But then, too, I also think it's just an interesting conversation about what would be the conversation about Clemson in the ACC specifically as we consistently get deeper and deeper into what we believe is an SEC Big Ten world. Does Clemson winning a championship out of the ACC carry even more weight at that point? So those are two things, big picture, I'm intrigued by. I certainly have more if you want to go another direction, but those are two things that kind of stand out.
We prefer more of the 5'11".
Right. Well, I think, again, the Big Ten, which didn't really do any public speaking at its own meetings, has had this 4-4-2-2-1 idea percolating for quite some time. And so I think what Ryan did when I interviewed him yesterday is just vocalize that. That's been generally the Big Ten's position. And maybe it was a little bit more of the SEC's position going into the meetings last week. And then they obviously, as you mentioned, got more rallied around that 5-11 model, which is certainly what the ACC and the Big 12 favor. I think Ryan's point is not all leagues are created equal. Not all schedules are equal. And, as a Big Ten conference with 18 members in the last 2 national championships, they feel like they're entitled to, more than one guaranteed spot essentially for their champion. So, how it ultimately plays out will be very interesting. But I think Ryan's position is one that I think resonates throughout the Big Ten right now. And does that lead to some type of standoff with the other conferences or a slowdown to the process? All these things are on the table.
How would a BCS model work in a 12, 16-team playoff world, 14-team playoff, world where, in the beginning, we're talking about a couple of teams getting into it, right? But if there was some kind, and I think AI has come such a long way, and if that was part of the component, how would it work in today's world?
You're talking about something that's more of an analytics based.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, obviously, the SEC put out those lists at the end of its media week there in Destin. I think it would be very difficult to get widespread support for that type of thing. There would be claims, whether justified or not, of this system or that system being biased towards one league. David, what I think we have to get to, and I know not everyone in the SEC likes this, is uniform scheduling in college football.
All right, we're going to close it out, and I'm going to watch you three gentlemen, because I don't think Ambry Heath has an idea of what to do.
I bet she's got a great idea.
Look at her face. I already know her. Tell the people what to do.
I'm not giving her anything.
You got to look straight. You got to look.
Well, tell them what to do on YouTube.
Like and subscribe.
And comment.
And comment.
Share and then click the notification bell so you never miss another Texags Rewind.
These guys love the help. I like when people suffer and it's like quicksand, like, oh, you fall.
They didn't help me.
Oh, this guy definitely helped you. And then he sits
I
there.
have no idea what you're talking about.
I can't even see. I can't read.
Well, this is true. That we
I can't
established.
see. Yes.
We'll see you next time.